My name is Vanessa. I'm a self-taught metalsmith and I'm the creator of With Love Jewelry. My niece's birthday is coming up and she's in love with jewelry, which is awesome for me because it makes giving gifts really easy. She's also kind of infatuated with birthstones and loves emerald since it's her birthstone. So my thought is we're gonna make some emerald studs. For the studs, I'm not gonna do anything too difficult. I just made this little, basically pebble that I'm gonna clean up, and I have shaped to just a little bit bigger than the emeralds that I will be using. And so I'll just add an earring post to the back and then flush set the emeralds. These little emeralds here, they'll fit really beautifully inside like a little cupcake. And then I'll just flush set them and it'll be just a simple little stud that I think will look really pretty once it's all finished. Easier and drill a little divot into the back of your your stud, so your earring post just sits in there when you solder it. We have to be really careful here not to overheat our setting, because if you're trying to add solder and the setting's too hot, it's just going to absorb the solder. Like it's literally just going to engulf the solder into the setting. So we got to just heat it gently. Make sure it's cooled before you try and move it. So I'm not going to touch that. I will see if it's soldered over here. Let it cool. Don't pick it up yet. Okay, it's cooled. I'm just going to heat the bottom a little bit because it's sticking. There we go. And set up our second one. I mean, it's just a cute little stud right now, like a little silver stud. And actually, I was selling something very similar to this when I first started making jewelry. And I was getting ready for my very first market, and I was trying to make them in bulk, and I could not figure out why I couldn't solder earring posts onto the back of the stud. And it was because I was using too high of a heat, and the actual stud part itself was becoming so hot that when I would put the solder to the connection joint, it would just absorb the solder into that hot ball of silver. If you're making your own earring posts, I highly recommend notching them. It's really a simple process. You just need a steady hand and a little bit of practice. So the way that I like to notch them is start with my dividers. I'll set my dividers to about 2 millimeters. And then from the end of the earring post, I'll just score that 2mm mark so that I know where to run my saw blade. So once you have a very light scoring of it, I'll get you closer with the second earring post. You're just going to, you're not going to saw up and down, you're just going to go upward so that you're running the post against the blade, but not in the downward cutting, just in the upward gliding, if that makes sense. So you create a little notch. You just do an upward, like grazing of it. Turn your earring. Do it again. Turn it again. And just keep going until you've reached the first little cut that you did, and then you have an ear post that has a little notch in the back so that the clasp doesn't fall out. So this is the notched earring post, and this is the one that we haven't done yet. So you see this one is smooth, so if you put an earring back on here, it's just going to slide. But with this one, when you put it on, it'll catch here so it doesn't fall off and your earring stays in place. The next step will be to open up our setting, and because this is a flush setting, if you've seen my previous At the Bench episode where we flush set, the first step is to drill our pilot hole all the way through, but because these are studs, we can't do that, and that's okay. You don't actually need the hole to go all the way through for a flush setting. It is nice to have if it's like a single gemstone or a few gemstones, because it allows more light to pass through, and so your gemstone will shine more. It's also easier to clean because if any debris or dirt builds up on the bottom underneath the gemstone and the setting, it's really difficult to get in there and clean it without that little hole. But it's not a necessity, so we're going to measure our emeralds and then start to open up our setting. So since the emeralds are the same size, I just clamped my studs into this little ring clamp on the flat side so that I can open them up at the same time and not have to worry about picking up and putting down. So now we just open up exactly the same way that we would for a flush setting. We still have more to go, but look how cute they're gonna look. First of all, I'm in love with how these are looking, and second of all, I need to set them, and I think this is the only thing that will work. My plan is I'm just gonna surround them in Jet Basic, and then that should hopefully allow me to set them without any problems. I have never flush set something this small that didn't have more substance to it. I've flush set gemstones smaller than this, but they were generally on like a pendant or a ring where I was able to hold it or set it in like a vise, and so I I really think this is going to be my saving grace, because otherwise I won't be able to hold the itty bitty earring post and burnish around my emeralds so that they stay in place without this. So I'm going to boil some water so I can get them set in here. We have our earrings locked into our Jet Basic. It's nice and solid. And now we gotta work on flush setting them. If you struggle with flush setting or pushing heavy bezel walls down, I cannot recommend this enough. It's the Dremel engraver. You can, it comes with pointed tips to engrave with, which is really cool if you're looking to do that, and you can use it on like a ton of different materials. But if you modify the tips, it's like a Graver Max for burnishing and pushing bezel walls down. It's amazing. Like it literally makes it super duper easy, and I can't recommend it enough. It's only like, I think tops $25 on Amazon. It's linked in my Amazon storefront. So if you're having any issues with any of those things, or you just want to make your life super duper simple, I really recommend this. I'm so glad I bought it, and it's not going anywhere. I'm going to be using it for a long time. They're set. Those emeralds are not going anywhere. So now I gotta take them out of the Jet Basic and clean up the setting, and I'm gonna give it a nice final polish so it's super shiny and beautiful. I'll stick some earring backs on there, and then these guys are all done. So excited. I love them. They're so cute. Oh! So now we're gonna round off the ends of the earring post so that they're comfortable to wear. And I'm just gonna use a cupping burr to do that. I get one that fits over about, oh, this is a little bit big, but it won't be an issue. So just run your flex shaft and cup over, and then just check with your hand, make sure there are no pointy spots, and you're good. And now you have a nice, comfortable earring post to wear. I think one of the coolest things about being a maker, and that's any maker, pottery, painting, drawing, shoemaking, whatever you do, like whatever you make, bread, you know, like whatever you make. I think the coolest thing is, and this was something that, sorry, I know I'm like taking a tangent, but this was something that growing up as a kid, I always knew that for my job, whatever my job was going to be in life, I knew I wanted to be able to look at whatever I had done and be proud of it. And I never had that up until I started making jewelry. Like throughout high school I did art classes. I was in college. I did art school for a while. As a photographer, I still do photography, but like I had a business as a photographer. But I never had that sense of accomplishment like I do when I create a piece of jewelry and I'm like, holy moly, I made this. Like, I made these adorable little emerald studs. They're so flippin' cute and pretty and dainty and gorgeous. I'm so proud of them, you know? And if you're starting off jewelry making, most days are not like this, where I'm like, I'm so proud of what I've done, like this is amazing. Most days are like, this looks awful. What was I thinking? I am horrible at this. I should not be doing this as my job, you know, like that's the reality of, maybe that's the reality of being a maker. That's who I am. At most of my days, I just sit back and I'm like, I'm such an imposter. And then you have those days, like today, and you're like, I made these. I love them. I might have to like put these, like, I might have to put, add this item to my item shop on my website because they are just so adorably beautiful. So I'm gonna stick some earring backs on these and I'll box them up. I still am planning on making her some hoops if time permits. Otherwise I can make them after her birthday and just give them to her. But I'm so happy that I got to make these. I hope you had so much fun watching and hopefully making along with me. Like maybe you're using this to try and make a pair of studs as well, and this is like helping you get to where you want to be as a metalsmith. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I would absolutely love if you like and subscribe to this video and to my YouTube channel, so that you can tag along with me and watch me grow as a self-taught metalsmith. Every day, like I said, is an experience. Most days are pretty rough and you're just like, what was I thinking? And then some days you make some beautiful pieces, or something accidentally happens, like you slip with your graver and break the little corner of a gemstone, and then you get to keep that ring for yourself because you can't sell it. So there are definitely highs and lows, but I do hope that you're enjoying following along with me on this journey, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.